There's a moment most of us experience quietly, usually late at night. The world is still. Maybe the lights are low or the house is empty. And there it is, the subtle, nagging feeling as you look at your bank account or review your monthly expenses. Not a loud panic, not a dramatic thought, but that tiny pull in your chest. Am I doing enough? Am I where I should be? It's not about comparing yourself to others, not really. It's about a personal sense of scarcity that lingers, shaping your choices in ways you may not notice. Small decisions, seemingly insignificant, feel weighted. A coffee purchase, a spontaneous dinner, even a minor impulse buy, the cumulative effect gnaws at your sense of security. It's a lens that most people live under without naming it. It's quiet, persistent, and completely invisible until you step outside of it. Hi, my name is Anderson. I've spent years studying about personal finance, investing, and the psychology behind money. Through experience, research, and observing thousands of households over decades, I've learned that financial freedom is rarely flashy. It's rarely immediate. It begins in moments just like the one you're probably experiencing now. Moments of reflection, of doubt, of curiosity, where you start asking questions that don't have easy answers. Here's the first insight that surprises most people. Very few households actually have $1 million saved. Fewer than 10% reach that milestone, depending on how you measure it. And no, it's not just about income. It's not about luck, inheritance, or getting rich quickly. It's about understanding thresholds, those invisible points in life where financial stability transforms your experience of the world. Crossing that threshold doesn't feel dramatic at the moment, but it quietly, irreversibly changes the way you operate, the way you think, and the way you design your life. Think of it as a door. On one hand, life feels tight, reactive. Every decision carries weight. Bills arrive like tidal waves, and every unexpected expense triggers anxiety. Money is a constant presence, often a source of tension or regret. On the other hand, life is intentional. Money becomes a tool, a resource, a means to design rather than a source of constant stress. That door isn't a reward. It's not a finish line. It's an entryway to something more sustainable and more powerful. Before crossing this threshold, most people are in what I call survival mode. It's not dramatic, it's simply functional. You wake up thinking about your obligations before your dreams. You measure your success by what you can cover this month, not what you could build over decades. Scarcity sharpens focus, but it also narrows perspective. Every decision is weighted with risk. Will I have enough? Will I be left behind? Every opportunity is judged through the lens of necessity rather than possibility. A coffee? Suddenly it feels like an indulgence. A night out? Risky. A job offer that challenges comfort zones? Too uncertain. Life feels like a series of emergencies, and mental energy is constantly devoted to avoiding pitfalls. That's normal, it's human, but it's also limiting. Scarcity shapes behavior, sometimes subtly, sometimes decisively. Then, something changes. The threshold arrives. You save consistently. You make strategic choices. You build momentum quietly, almost imperceptibly. One day, you wake up and realize that stress feels different. Emergencies exist, but they're optional. Opportunities, previously overshadowed by fear, now dominate your attention. That shift is subtle, but once it settles, it feels inevitable. It's like the tide lifting gently beneath a boat. You don't notice it at first, but suddenly you're floating. Let's make this tangible with some realistic numbers. Suppose you save $1,000 a month. Disciplined, yes, but achievable for many households. If you invest that consistently with a 7% annual return realistic for a balanced portfolio of stocks and bonds over 30 years, you reach roughly $1 million. That's not hypothetical. That's math. No windfall, no lottery ticket, no overnight miracle, just patience, time, and the quiet, invisible power of compounding. Now imagine the psychology of someone reaching this point. The individual who has consistently saved isn't merely a saver, they've become someone who trusts themselves. Discipline becomes habitual, not burdensome. Delayed gratification transforms from sacrifice into autonomy. Scarcity fades. Mental bandwidth expands. The anxiety that once colored every decision slowly dissolves. Money ceases to dominate thoughts. It becomes a tool for designing life, not a source of tension. At this stage, small daily expenses like a coffee or lunch out don't dictate mood or behavior. Instead, life-level decisions dominate attention. Housing, career moves, investments, transportation, healthcare, education. Mental bandwidth freed from scarcity allows for long-term strategic thinking. Emergencies are no longer crises, they are choices to engage or not. Stress becomes optional. Decisions are intentional rather than reactive. Here's an important concept: walking away money. This is not a reward, it's not a trophy, it's leverage. The power to walk away from situations without fear. To negotiate with certainty rather than desperation. To pursue projects aligned with purpose, not just immediate income. Posture, calm confidence, and clarity become visible. It influences outcomes before the world even knows why. This isn't flashy power, it's subtle, quiet, transformative. But the milestone has pitfalls. Many treat it as a reward, a green light to indulge, a bigger car, a larger house, expensive vacations. They all erode future optionality. The $1 million mark is a foundation, not a destination. Every impulsive choice steals potential years of freedom. Every disciplined choice preserves it. Opportunity cost is real and emotionally tangible. Thoughtless spending is not a sin, it's a subtle theft of future autonomy. The difference between survival mode and growth mode is profound. Fear, scarcity, and desperation distort thinking. Every unexpected expense triggers disproportionate anxiety. Decisions are weighed against worst-case scenarios. Once the threshold is crossed, those distortions fade. Layoffs become opportunities, unexpected bills become manageable, and the horizon broadens. Life patterns emerge where once there was only reaction. Freedom is subtle, but profoundly felt. Let's extend the math to illustrate acceleration. Compounding doesn't stop at $1 million, it accelerates growth. $2 million becomes achievable, $3 million plausible. Growth isn't linear, it's geometric. Roots extend quietly underground, steady, invisible, unstoppable. That's the reality most people underestimate. Financial transformation isn't flashy, it's consistent, cumulative, and profoundly invisible until the tipping point. Psychologically, the person who crosses this threshold is transformed. They no longer wait for luck. Decisions are intentional. Life-level choices replace day-to-day anxieties. Money is no longer a measure of self-worth, it is a tool for freedom. Small expenses lose their significance. Large opportunities come into focus. Mental energy is redirected toward designing outcomes rather than reacting to crises. Big decisions dominate: housing, career trajectory, investments, transportation, healthcare. Small purchases exist, but they are trivial by comparison. You start to consider long-term strategy over immediate consumption. Choices that once felt like crises now feel like options. Flexibility, foresight, and clarity define experience. Life-level decisions replace coffee-level anxieties. Career power shifts dramatically. Offers are evaluated through leverage, not fear. Walking away is real, not hypothetical. Confidence compounds subtly: posture, calm assurance, intentionality all influence outcomes without the need for negotiation theatrics. Opportunity flows to those with clarity, not desperation. Small advantages compound into career and financial acceleration over time. Yet caution remains critical. Lifestyle inflation is the silent predator. Treat the milestone as a seed, not a prize. Extravagant choices now diminish future optionality. Every decision carries opportunity cost, emotionally visible in future scenarios. Thoughtful design of financial and life decisions amplifies freedom. Reactive indulgence diminishes it. Design over reaction is the principle that separates stability from stagnation. Future self-thinking becomes paramount. Imagine yourself 10 years from now, reflecting quietly on choices made today, intentional, patient, designed for freedom. The gratitude of your future self is subtle, yet profound. It's not opulence, it's clarity, control, and long-term optionality. Every choice today is an investment in the freedom of tomorrow. Let's revisit reality with some small but concrete examples. Imagine negotiating housing. Someone in survival mode may take the first acceptable offer, fearing the risk of searching. The person beyond the threshold can weigh options, negotiate terms, and walk away if alignment isn't right. Same situation, two experiences, radically different outcomes. Opportunity cost, optionality, and mental bandwidth shift everything. Transportation is another lens. Before the threshold, buying a used car within tight budget constraints feels necessary. After, a car purchase becomes strategic, efficient, reliable, aligning with long-term financial design. Not flashy, not impulsive, intentional. Energy and mental resources are freed for opportunities, growth, and long-term design rather than daily anxiety management. Healthcare, education, investments, all choices follow similar patterns. Scarcity distorts early decisions. Stability clarifies them. Emergencies still occur, but they are now optional to engage with, calculated and predictable. Freedom emerges quietly, invisibly, but profoundly. The identity transformation is subtle but deep. Discipline becomes self-trust. Patience becomes power. Mental clarity replaces reactivity. Fear recedes, and growth is inevitable. The $1 million milestone isn't wealth for wealth's sake, it's freedom, control, and clarity. It's the foundation of intentional life design, not a trophy or reward. At this stage, stress transforms. Opportunities dominate. Choices expand. Life-level decisions replace small anxieties. Scarcity gives way to optionality. Fear is reframed as strategy. Growth, previously reactive, becomes intentional. Decisions compound just as reliably as the money saved in the account. The $1 million milestone is not an endpoint, it's a beginning. A foundation from which decades of freedom, opportunity, and intentionality emerge. It quietly shifts your experience of life, the world, and yourself. Decisions, posture, clarity, and confidence, these are the unseen dividends. And once crossed, there's no going back. You see yourself differently, life differently, and opportunities differently. Freedom, control, and clarity replace anxiety, scarcity, and fear. That's the quiet, powerful transformation that comes with this milestone. So remember, this milestone isn't a finish line, it's a foundation. Every decision you make now builds the freedom and clarity of your future self. My name is Anderson, and the choices you make today will quietly shape the life you'll thank yourself for tomorrow. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next video.